What if I told you that most of the pain you're carrying is self-inflicted? Not because you meant to hurt yourself, not because you're weak, but because you've been ignoring truths you were never taught to face. Think about it. How many problems in your life keep repeating themselves? Relationships that fall apart, motivation that fades, anxiety that never fully leaves, feeling stuck no matter how hard you try. These aren't random, they're signals, and they're trying to wake you up. There's a reason why no amount of success, money, or external validation ever truly satisfies you. There's a reason why, even when things look fine on the outside, something feels broken on the inside. And it's not because you're broken, it's because you've been living disconnected from the lessons that life has been trying to teach you over and over again. Lessons about your worth, about responsibility, about pain, purpose, discipline, and truth. You were never given the manual, but deep down you feel it. That inner pull, that quiet voice that says, there's more. We live in a world that celebrates distraction, that teaches you to numb instead of heal, to avoid instead of confront. But avoidance has a cost, and it compounds. One day of ignoring what you know you should do turns into a month, a year, a decade. One day you wake up surrounded by chaos, feeling exhausted, bitter, and confused. Not because you didn't work hard, but because you didn't work on the right things. The real things. Life keeps whispering the same messages to you, and every time you ignore them, the whisper gets louder. Until it screams, until it becomes heartbreak, burnout, regret. And here's the truth. Most people never stop to listen. They stay on the treadmill, running in circles, chasing approval, drowning in comparison, waiting for someone else to fix it all. But no one's coming to save you. The moment you truly understand that, you begin to take your power back. And that's why you're here. Because a part of you is done. Done making excuses, done playing small, done pretending you don't care when you know you do. You want more, not just more things, but more clarity, more courage, more peace. And that's not a fantasy. It's possible. But only if you're willing to look at the hard truths, the kind of truths that sting a little, but heal a lot. Stay with me because over the next few minutes you're going to uncover the life lessons that 90% of people ignore. Lessons that, if truly understood, can shift your direction forever. Not by giving you hype, but by helping you see what's real. These lessons will hurt, but they will also free you. And if you're ready to stop repeating the same cycles, if you're ready to stop suffering in silence, this could be the turning point. Not someday. Right now. All you have to do is keep listening. One of the hardest truths to face is this. No one is responsible for your life but you. Not your parents, not your past, not the world. It's easier to blame. It feels safer. Because if it's someone else's fault, then you don't have to change. You don't have to risk. You don't have to look in the mirror and admit the role you've played in your own suffering. But that comfort is a cage, and every time you shift the blame, you hand your power away. The lesson most people ignore is radical responsibility, the kind that doesn't make excuses, the kind that doesn't wait for perfect conditions or outside permission. Most people stay stuck not because they're incapable, but because they haven't taken ownership of their choices, ownership of their mindset, their habits, their standards, and deep down they know it. That's where the shame creeps in. That's why the anxiety never fully fades. Because a part of you knows you were meant for more, and you've been avoiding the very steps that would take you there. Radical responsibility isn't about guilt. It's about freedom. Because the moment you accept that your life is a reflection of what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you decide, you step into the driver's seat. Suddenly you're not a victim of circumstance. You're the creator of change. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what can I do with this? That shift in mindset can rebuild a broken life. It can rebuild your life. But it starts with honesty. Honest reflection. Are you living in alignment with the person you say you want to become? Are your actions matching your ambitions? Are your choices reflecting your values? Or are they driven by fear, convenience, or approval? These aren't comfortable questions, but they're necessary. Because you can't heal what you won't admit, and you can't change what you're too afraid to face. Most people want transformation without the tension, growth without the grind. But life doesn't work like that. Change begins when you get tired of your own excuses, when the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of change. And maybe you're at that point. Maybe that quiet frustration you've been feeling is the signal. The inner knowing that it's time to level up, not tomorrow, not when life feels easier, now. Because every day you delay your growth, you feed your regrets. And regret is a heavy burden to carry, not just because of what you missed, but because of what you could have become. Don't wait for rock bottom to force the change. Don't wait for life to hit you hard enough to finally listen. Choose to wake up now. Choose to lead yourself. That's the kind of responsibility that rewires your destiny. There is nothing more powerful than a person who refuses to be defined by their past. Nothing more unstoppable than someone who decides with full conviction, this ends with me. The fear, the patterns, the limitation. That's where your true strength is born. Not in what you avoid, but in what you face. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest and brave enough to take the next right step, even if it's small, especially if it's hard, because that's how the real transformation begins, one decision at a time. There's a lesson life keeps offering, but few ever truly learn it. Your emotions are messengers, not masters. You feel overwhelmed. You feel anxious. You feel lost. And the first instinct is to run. Distract, numb, scroll, overeat, bury yourself in busyness. But running doesn't remove the pain. It just delays it. And what you don't deal with will deal with you. That emotional weight you keep pushing down doesn't disappear, it grows. Quietly, silently. Until one day it explodes as burnout, rage, emptiness, or breakdown. You were never taught how to sit with discomfort, how to face your inner world without judging it. But this is one of the most powerful lessons life demands you learn. You can't build peace while avoiding pain. You can't build strength while escaping struggle. The world tells you to chase happiness, but that's a trap. Because happiness is not the goal, wholeness is. And wholeness only comes when you face every part of you, not just the parts that are easy to love. That means facing the anger, the sadness, the grief, the jealousy, the shame. Not to dwell on it, not to live in it, but to understand it. Because every emotion has a message. Anger shows you where your boundaries were crossed. Sadness reveals where something valuable was lost. Fear uncovers where you've given away your power. These aren't weaknesses, they're wisdom if you're willing to listen. But if you keep suppressing what you feel, you'll keep sabotaging who you're becoming. You can't grow if you're not honest about where you are. You can't evolve if you're afraid to feel. Emotional discipline doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means understanding them so they don't control you. It means creating space between stimulus and response, between emotion and reaction. That space is where your power lives. That space is where transformation happens, and you build it through awareness, reflection, and a willingness to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. Most people think courage is loud, but real courage is quiet. It's the moment you sit in silence and feel the ache without trying to fix it. It's the moment you stop blaming the world and start asking, what is this teaching me? It's the decision to show up for yourself, even when your mind screams to run. That's how emotional strength is built. Not through avoidance, but through acceptance. Through staying present when everything in you wants to disappear. You don't need to be fearless. You need to stop letting fear make your decisions. You don't need to have it all figured out. You need to trust that facing your emotions is not weakness, it's wisdom. Because the moment you stop fearing what you feel, you start reclaiming your life. You become grounded, resilient, unshakable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Every emotion you bury becomes a chain. Every emotion you face becomes a key. And one by one, as you unlock what you've been running from, you begin to remember who you are. Not the version shaped by fear, but the version forged in truth. You become the person who no longer needs to escape, because you've learned to stand in your own power. That's when life starts to shift. Not outside, inside. That's when the chaos quiets. Not because the world changed, but because you did. There's a silent destroyer of dreams that disguises itself as logic, comfort, even responsibility. It tells you to wait, to play it safe, to not get your hopes up. It whispers, "You're not ready, you're not good enough yet. What if you fail?" And most people listen. They let that voice guide their choices, shape their identity, and define their limits. That voice is fear wearing the mask of reason. And the longer you obey it, the further you drift from who you're meant to be. Fear doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes it looks like procrastination, perfectionism, endless planning without action. You think you're being smart, careful, but deep down you're stalling. Because the idea of trying and failing feels heavier than the weight of never trying at all. And that's the lie, that not trying protects you. But it doesn't. It suffocates you, slowly, quietly, until your life becomes a series of what-ifs instead of I did. Bro, you will never feel completely ready. You will never have perfect timing. Life will never hand you a risk-free opportunity, and that's by design. Growth is not supposed to feel safe. It's supposed to stretch you, challenge you, wake you up, and if you wait until all your fears disappear, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The secret is not in removing fear, it's in choosing to act in spite of it. That's courage. And it changes everything. You cannot build a different life with the same mindset that created the one you're trying to escape. You cannot rise while clinging to safety. At some point, you have to leap. You have to stop negotiating with your doubts. You have to stop asking for permission to be great. Because your future is not waiting for more excuses. It's waiting for you to rise, to move, to decide. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. That's part of it. Growth demands sacrifice. The sacrifice of comfort, the sacrifice of the familiar, the sacrifice of being liked by everyone. But what you gain in return is worth more than anything you'll ever lose. Your confidence, your clarity, your freedom. Because once you prove to yourself that you can do hard things, you stop being controlled by them. You don't need a guarantee. You need a decision. A decision that your potential is more important than your fear. That your future matters more than your past. That you are no longer available for a life built on playing small. People will doubt you. Fear will challenge you. Failure will test you. But nothing is more painful than staying stuck in a life that doesn't reflect who you really are. Somewhere inside you, there's a version of you that knows what you're capable of. That voice may be quiet now, buried under years of fear and self-doubt, but it's still there. The more you take action, the louder it gets. The more you move through fear, the more power you reclaim. Until one day you realize fear is no longer the one leading your life. You are. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're creating it. Right now. With every brave decision you make, with every uncomfortable step you take. This is your life. And you only get one. Don't waste it obeying fear. Don't waste it waiting. If you want a different outcome, you must become a different person. One who moves even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because that's the person who changes everything. Most people are not tired because they've done too much. They're tired because they've spent too long doing too little of what truly matters. Wasting energy on things that don't align. Trying to impress people who don't care. Saying yes to things that drain them. Silencing their voice just to keep the peace. This kind of exhaustion is deeper than physical. It's spiritual. It's what happens when your soul knows you're off course but your habits keep pulling you back to the same place. And it doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in. One compromise at a time. One ignored boundary. One delayed dream. One more day of pretending everything's fine when you know it's not. Until one day, you stop recognizing yourself in the mirror. You stop feeling alive. You're breathing but not living. Existing but not growing. Surrounded by noise, yet completely disconnected from your truth. This is what happens when you live out of alignment. When you betray your own values for the sake of comfort, acceptance, or routine. And the world is full of people doing exactly that, living on autopilot, chasing what looks good instead of what feels right. But alignment is the key. Alignment is power. When your choices reflect your values, your energy multiplies. You stop leaking power. You stop feeling lost. You stop needing external motivation because you're pulled by something deeper, purpose. Living in alignment doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means it becomes clear. You know what to say yes to. You know what to walk away from. You stop asking for directions from people who've never been where you're going. You stop sacrificing your peace for approval. You become your own compass. And when you live this way, the world feels different. Not because it changes, but because you do. But alignment takes honesty. Brutal, loving honesty. The kind that asks, is this really who I want to be? Not someday. Not when things settle down. Right now. In the way you show up. In the way you speak to yourself. In the way you treat your time, your body, your vision. Because every small choice is a vote for the person you're becoming. And if you're not voting for the life you want, you're voting against it. It's time to stop outsourcing your direction. Time to stop pretending you don't know what you want. Deep down you do. You've just gotten used to tuning it out, distracting yourself, playing roles. But your inner voice hasn't left you. It's just waiting for you to start listening again. Waiting for you to get quiet enough, honest enough, brave enough to say, this isn't who I am anymore, and I'm ready to change it. Bruh. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. You just have to start telling the truth. To yourself. About what you want. About what no longer fits. About what you've been tolerating. And then, make one aligned decision. One step in the right direction. Because even a small step in alignment is more powerful than 100 steps in the wrong direction. This is how you reclaim your energy. This is how you find clarity. Not by doing more, but by doing what matters, what feels real, what feels right. You don't need to figure out the whole path. You just need to take the next honest step. That's how the fog lifts. That's how the fire comes back. That's how you stop existing and start living again. There is a lesson most overlook, yet it holds the power to reshape every corner of your life. Patience is not passive. Patience is a muscle, a skill you build. It's not waiting without action, but enduring through struggle while you keep moving forward. The world pushes you to want it all now. Instant results, instant gratification, instant validation. But lasting change, real growth, never happens overnight. It's slow, steady, and sometimes invisible. That's why most give up before they reach the breakthrough. When you're in the thick of it, patience feels like torture. You want to quit. You want to scream at the unfairness of it all. You want proof that your effort isn't wasted. But what you don't see is that every moment of resistance, every second you decide not to give up, is wiring your brain for success. It's rewiring your character. It's forging resilience, grit, and faith. Patience isn't about hoping something will happen. It's about trusting that what you're building is worth the wait. The problem is that our minds are wired for quick fixes, dopamine hits, and immediate feedback. So when you don't see progress fast enough, doubt creeps in. The internal dialogue becomes, why bother, this isn't working. But that's the mind trying to protect you from discomfort. Discomfort is growth's companion. If you want a life that's extraordinary, you have to get comfortable with discomfort, and that starts with patience. Every great achievement in history, every dream you admire, was built on the foundation of persistent patience. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not talent, luck, or resources. It's the ability to stay the course when no one is watching, to keep showing up when the results aren't glamorous, to believe in yourself when others don't. That's the quiet power of patience. It's also deeply connected to your ability to trust yourself. Trust that the hard work you're doing today is not wasted. Trust that your consistent actions, even if small, are moving you closer. Trust that the universe isn't against you. It's simply testing your commitment. And every moment you choose patience, you reinforce that trust. You prove to yourself that you are someone who doesn't quit, someone who finishes what they start, someone who honors their own potential. Most people want to sprint to the finish line, but life demands a marathon pace. When you learn to pace yourself with patience, you save your energy for what really matters. You avoid burnout. You keep your vision clear without getting lost in frustration. You give yourself permission to grow at your own pace, which is the only pace that lasts. Patience also teaches you humility. The humility to accept that you don't have all the answers now. That progress isn't always linear, that setbacks are part of the process. When you embrace patience, you stop punishing yourself for not being perfect today. Instead, you honor the journey, knowing that every step counts, even the hard ones. So the question is, are you willing to wait? Not just passively wait, but actively commit to your growth with patience. Because impatience leads to giving up. Patience leads to mastery. Impatience fuels regret. Patience builds legacy. You don't need more motivation for a moment. You need the endurance to keep going when motivation fades. The person you want to become isn't created in a day or a week. They are forged through countless moments of patient persistence. Every choice to stay committed, even when the world seems against you, is a brick laid in the foundation of your future. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize it was patience, not speed, that carried you through. It was patience that made you unbreakable. It was patience that made you unstoppable. The most overlooked truth in life is that your environment shapes your reality more than you realize. You can have all the willpower, dreams, and determination in the world, but if the people, places, and influences around you aren't aligned with your vision, you'll find yourself stuck in a loop. Toxic environments drain your energy. They cloud your judgment. They quietly sabotage your progress while you struggle to push forward. It's one of the harshest lessons, but also one of the most liberating. You get to choose what you allow into your life. This doesn't just mean physical spaces. It means the thoughts you entertain, the voices you listen to, and the habits you repeat daily. If you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and distraction, those forces will slowly erode your confidence. They will whisper that you're not enough, that your dreams are foolish, that your efforts don't matter. And because your brain craves consistency, it will start to believe those lies. That's why so many people stay stuck, because their environment tells them to stay small, safe, and comfortable, even when their soul screams for growth. But here's the secret. You don't have to stay there. You can break free. You can curate a life that fuels your fire instead of extinguishing it. You can seek out people who inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. You can choose spaces that energize your mind and nourish your spirit. You can develop habits that build momentum, rather than destroy it. This isn't about perfection or isolation. It's about intentionality, about creating a container strong enough to hold your dreams and soft enough to allow growth. Imagine the power of being surrounded by energy that lifts you higher. People who believe in your potential, even when you doubt it yourself. Environments that invite focus, clarity, and creativity instead of chaos. Every successful person understands this. It's not just talent or luck, it's the deliberate cultivation of a life that supports their greatness. When you embrace this lesson, you stop fighting against the tide. Instead, you swim with the current that carries you forward. It's important to realize that changing your environment doesn't mean escaping your problems. You can't outrun your mindset, but when your surroundings encourage growth and positivity, you create a foundation for inner transformation to take root. It becomes easier to break destructive patterns because your environment reminds you of your potential every day. It holds you accountable when motivation wanes. It nurtures your courage when fear tries to pull you back. Letting go of toxic relationships, unproductive habits, and distracting spaces isn't easy. It requires courage because it means leaving behind what's familiar, even if it's harmful. It means choosing your peace over approval. It means saying no to the noise so you can hear your own voice clearly. But once you do, you'll feel a shift, a lightness, a clarity, a renewed sense of purpose. That's the reward. That's the freedom you've been craving. Your environment is your invisible architecture. It builds or breaks your future without you always noticing. So the question is, what are you building right now? What energy are you inviting in? What standards are you setting for the spaces and people you allow close? Because every choice you make today will either build a cage or open a door. You deserve a life where your environment reflects your highest self, where every influence pushes you closer to your goals, not further away. You don't have to settle for less just because it's easier. You have the power to create surroundings that honor your journey. Surround yourself with what feeds your soul, sharpens your mind, and ignites your passion. That is where transformation begins, not just inside you, but all around you. There's a powerful truth that most avoid confronting. Your identity is not fixed. It's not a label handed down or a script you must follow. It's a story you write every day through your thoughts, choices, and actions. But the problem is many people believe they are trapped in who they've been told they are, defined by past mistakes, failures, or the expectations of others. This false identity becomes a cage, limiting your vision and strangling your potential before you've even begun to explore it. The challenge is that this story feels safe because it's familiar. Even when it hurts, even when it holds you back, you cling to it because changing your identity feels terrifying. What if you try and fail? What if you lose the few things you've managed to hold on to? The fear of the unknown keeps you stuck, playing a role that's comfortable but small, instead of stepping into the person you were meant to become. But here's the liberating truth. You have the power to rewrite your story. Every moment offers a choice, a chance to shed the limits of your past and step into a new version of yourself. The moment you start thinking, I am not my mistakes, I am not my fears, I am more than what I have been told, you open a door to transformation. It's not easy, it's not instant, but it's possible, and it's necessary. Your identity is built by what you consistently do, not what you occasionally wish for. Every decision to act in alignment with your highest values adds a new chapter of strength and possibility. Every choice to stand up, even when you're scared, rewrites who you are. You become the person who faces challenges, not the one who runs from them. You become the person who doesn't wait for permission, but grants it to yourself. This process requires radical self-awareness. You must become an observer of your own thoughts, beliefs, and habits. Which parts of your identity serve you? Which ones hold you hostage? When you recognize the stories that limit you, you can challenge them, question them, and eventually replace them with truths that empower you. The person you believe yourself to be today does not have to be the person you become tomorrow. Transformation is about conscious creation. It's about deciding that the version of yourself who doubts, fears, and stays small is not the final draft. It's about embracing discomfort as a sign that you're growing, not failing. It's about honoring the courage it takes to step into unfamiliar territory where your potential lives. When you claim your right to change, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the architect of your life. The world around you will try to box you in. People will resist your growth because it challenges their beliefs or threatens their own comfort. But your true self doesn't belong in a box. It's expansive, evolving, and free. The more you step into your authentic identity, the more magnetic your life becomes. Opportunities appear, confidence rises. Your energy shifts in ways that draw people and experiences that support your growth. Remember, your past is not your prison. It's the soil where your new self can take root. You have the power to nurture that seed with intention, patience, and persistence. Every time you act with courage, every time you choose growth over comfort, you water that seed and help it grow stronger. The person you want to be is waiting on the other side of your decision to rewrite the story. It starts right here, right now. Not with perfection, but with commitment. Not with certainty, but with faith in your ability to grow. You are not who you were yesterday. You are not who the world told you to be. You are the person you choose to become, and that choice is the greatest power you hold. Embrace it, claim it, live it. You carry inside you a force more powerful than any obstacle you face. It's not talent, luck, or circumstance. It's your mindset, the way you perceive your struggles, your failures, your potential. Your mindset can be the difference between surrendering to fear and rising above it. The problem is, most people don't realize how much control they have over this inner narrative. They let self-doubt, negativity, and limiting beliefs dictate their reality. They become prisoners of a mindset that tells them, "You're not good enough. You'll never succeed. This is just how life is." But the truth is, your mindset is not fixed. It's malleable. It grows and evolves based on what you feed it, what you focus on, and how you interpret your experiences. Science shows us that the brain can rewire itself through consistent practice and intentional thinking. This means you are not stuck in the story you've been telling yourself. You can change it. You can train your mind to see challenges as opportunities, failures as lessons, and setbacks as setups for something greater. Imagine what your life would look like if you chose to believe in your ability to grow, to adapt, to overcome. What if, instead of fearing failure, you embraced it as a necessary step on the path to success? What if your internal dialogue shifted from "I can't" to "I'm learning," from "this is too hard" to "this will make me stronger"? You change your mindset, you change your world. Your thoughts become the lens through which you view every moment. And that lens can either cloud your vision or bring clarity and focus. The power of mindset is not just positive thinking, it's active, relentless belief in your capacity to improve. It's waking up each day and choosing to fight for your dreams, no matter how many times you've been knocked down. It's the voice inside that refuses to give up, even when the world says otherwise. That voice is your true power. Nurture it. Protect it. Let it grow louder than any doubt. You must become the guardian of your mind. Guard against toxic thoughts that drain your spirit. Replace old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones. This takes discipline and awareness, because your brain naturally gravitates toward negativity. It's wired to keep you safe by avoiding risk. But safety does not equal growth. Growth lives beyond your comfort zone, in the space where you challenge your mind and expand your limits. When you commit to cultivating a growth mindset, you're choosing transformation. You're saying yes to discomfort, to learning, to resilience. You're shifting from being a passive receiver of life's circumstances to an active creator of your destiny. This mindset fuels courage, persistence, and innovation. It turns obstacles into stepping stones and fear into fuel. Every successful person, every person you admire, has this mindset working for them. It's the invisible engine behind every breakthrough and achievement. It's what allows ordinary people to do extraordinary things. You have access to that same power. It's inside you now, waiting for you to awaken it through intention and action. The moment you decide to take control of your mindset, you reclaim your life. You become unstoppable. The doubts lose their grip. The fears shrink in size. You become a force of nature, driven by belief and purpose. Your mind, once your greatest enemy, becomes your greatest ally. That shift changes everything. Don't wait for motivation to find you. Don't wait for the perfect circumstances. Your mindset is the tool that will carry you through the storms and into the light. Strengthen it daily. Protect it fiercely. Because the life you want, the person you want to become, depends on the stories you choose to tell yourself, and the belief you hold in those stories.